All right, so welcome everyone to the Mid-States Regional Astronomical League 2018 Conference. Yay! We're finally here. And welcome to Hobb State Park. This is one of our favorite places in Northwest Arkansas, and you'll learn why here in just a little bit. My name is Rick Marshall. I'm the president of Sugar Creek Astronomical Society, your host. We also have Scott Roberts somewhere here in the crowd. There's Scott in the back. Scott's our sponsor with Explore Scientific, and many of you were there today to get registered and enjoy a few of the activities today. And then over here I've got Steve. Steve is our main park person. Steve, what's your official title?
I'm an interpreter.
An interpreter of the park. Yeah, thank you. And so wanted to talk a little bit tonight before we bring on Bruce, who's going to talk about IDA and the International Dark Skies Association and the importance of having a local chapter in your state. We want to talk a little bit about Sugar Creek and what makes Sugar Creek special and some of our activities here with the park. We've had a relationship with Hobb State Park since I think 2010. Is that correct, Steve? And
been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, we're almost a decade. And so the main activities we do here is we host public star parties every other month, except during wintertime, of course. And during those events, we will come into this room and do a lecture for the public on different relevant topics of that time. And we try to align the topics to what they can actually go outside and then see, because we will go out into the parking lot and set up telescopes and allow the public to look through our telescopes, like we're going to do tonight. We get a lot of interest in the public. We promote it on our Facebook page, and it's not uncommon in the summer for us to have numbers that go from 200 to even over 400. It's an extremely popular event. It draws a lot of interest from the local colleges, schools, and just the general public. And there's nothing like, as you all know, I'm preaching to the choir, right? There's nothing like having a young person there at the telescope seeing Jupiter for the first time. And I often say, you never know when you have the first person that's going to walk on Mars looking through your telescope. You just never know. And so I want to have Steve say a few words about the park, about the different kinds of activities they have at the park, and then we'll talk a little bit more about Sugar Creek. So, Steve, if you would.
I'm glad everybody's comfy and wearing shorts like I am. Well, I'm an interpreter here at Hobbs, and of course everybody thinks I interpret languages. I don't do that. We used to call us naturalists, but now we interpret the flora, we interpret the fauna, we interpret the history. So I'm an interpreter now. So here we are at Hobb State Park. We have 52 state parks in Arkansas. Hobbs is by far the biggest. This is 12,045 acres. This takes up 23% of all of the state park property that Arkansas State Parks has. Wow. This is not the most developed park, but it is by far the biggest. And managing this park is a little different. It's not like, okay, let's go camp at this park and at 10:30 we close the gates and everybody has to be quiet. My goodness, we've got Highway 12, we got Highway 127. Managing this park is very different. Another way this is very different, this is the only state park, get this, that allows hunting. When Roscoe Hobbs owned this property, before it became state park, and then it became Hobb State Park, Roscoe let people come here and hunt. He let people come here and pick berries. He let people come here and cut firewood. And as long as they didn't abuse the land, he let them take it on as if it were their own. And they did that. Then Roscoe dies in 1965, and the state was wondering, what are we going to do with this property? So they asked the public, what do you want us to do with it? And everything came back from absolutely nothing, leave it alone, don't touch it, to let's put theme parks here. But because Roscoe Hobbs had allowed people to come here and hunt, that's why we still have hunting. We've got the only outdoor firing range in the state of Arkansas with a bullet trap. We capture more than 4,000 pounds of, 4 tons of lead a year. Keep that out of the environment, that's pretty good. We do lots of programs here. You know, a lot of people didn't even know this is a state park, and still, since this is the biggest state park, and people still don't know we're here, from Northwest Arkansas. This building was dedicated May 27, 2009. And from that time on, a lot of people, hey, this is a state park. You must have been a state park since 2009. No, we've been a state park since 1979. Just didn't have any development. Didn't have any place where people could come and ask questions. Hey, how far can we hike on this trail or that trail? So 2009 we started. Then we made our partnership with Sugar Creek. That was our first partnership, and a great one. And let me put it this way. I'll show you how nice it is. You had to drive away to get here. Everybody who comes to the astronomy program they have to want to come here, right? And so when we first started off, you know, we didn't have a whole lot of folks coming. We had nights that everybody knew it was going to be cloudy or it was going to rain. They didn't show up. But we've been in this partnership for 8 years now going on 9 years. And get this, even though we had, starting from the beginning with little attendance, and knowing that there were some nights people weren't going to show up because of the weather, over these years, we have averaged, get this, over 100 people a program from the beginning. That's absolutely amazing. That is absolutely amazing. So, I just want to say we are so happy to be partners with Sugar Creek. So glad that you're here to enjoy Hobb State Park. I'm glad the sky got pretty for you tonight. Enjoy while you're here.
So a few more things about Sugar Creek, and then we'll turn it over to Bruce for his talk. You may have a few questions about how we, organize these kinds of events and everything. And really, Facebook has really done a lot for us to really boost the turnout numbers. We have a Facebook group for the general public, and at last count, that number was, Clint,
500 or 600.
500 or 600 people. And that's individual people. We see a lot of families, and so when we count those up, we have families of 5, families of 3, and that's probably the thing that's most exciting is to see the families come in, see the kids come in. We also we have obviously events in other places. We actually also have a telescope here. We have a 14-inch Meade RCX, not really Richie Crickian, but kind of. I guess there's a little legal aspect there. And so we'll wheel that telescope up the hill, and then we have members that bring their own telescopes. And so as you will see tonight, we have a diverse set of telescopes. We will have everything from 80 millimeter refractors to a 16-inch Hobb. Just a wide range. Even once in a while, we will get a little video astronomy going. I had to give that plug for my talk on Sunday. And so, part of it is giving that wide range of experience, letting people see a lot of different objects, things that they wouldn't normally see. And the comments, as you can imagine, are just fantastic. We've had people weep walking away from the telescope before. I'm absolutely serious. They're just so stunned, and so it's really important for us to have a lot of public outreach. And but I'll say also, it's important for clubs to also have a balance of public outreach with programs for their own members as well. And you can kind of get sideways with too many outreach events and not enough for the members. So we're trying to find that balance ourselves, and that's something that we're really focused on this year. So any questions? I'd love to field any questions. Yeah, Clint.
So one thing that Steve forgot to mention that I wanted to point out is our astronomy nights here at Hobb State Park is the largest reoccurring event at any state park in the state of Arkansas. So they'll have one-off events that are the largest.
And I'd say if you'd like to find out more, if you would like to find out more about the partnership, how to get something started in your area and do that, we would be more than happy to share with you and help build those kind of events in other places. So just reach one of us out. Most of us either will have a red staff name tag, and those folks are most of us are in Sugar Creek and will be able to answer your questions. And if they aren't, they'll be able to point you to someone who can. Okay. Any other questions or?
What's your membership number here?
Our membership is, I think, at 36 currently. Yeah. Yes.
What was the process to get the park to open up at night? Because normally state parks close.
Mm-hmm.
Steve stays late.
He just
early, and I wasn't with the club real early on in 2010, but I could say, the part of it is building momentum, and so you heard Steve talk about how the park needed development, right? They got this building in place in 2009. Then you need to have programs here to help draw people. And so I think they took a chance, and it was a really good, benefit, after all of these years. They took a chance on us. We formed a partnership with them, and through called Friends of Hobbs, and so it's grown and grown and grown. And as I mentioned, Facebook has helped grow that. I can certainly envision a time at which it gets awfully crowded for parking out here, and we could.
And it has for some of our events.
That's right.
We had an event last year, the year before. We had 500 people show up, and there was people parked on the highway.
There were a quarter mile
crazy.
Yep.
The parks wanted it so bad that we came out and said, okay, well, can you turn off these parking lot lights? And they went, no. We said, well, it's sort of hard to have it. And they said, okay. And Steve called me the next week and said, an electrician's going to rewire the parking lot. And that's how they wanted that, to answer that question. They sought us out, and Steve saw the need and so knew we'd draw people here. And they've rewired the parking lot, they've rewired the building, and changed circuit breakers and put switches in so they can turn off the lights and make it good for us.
And I'll say that the park has been just fantastic to work with. Like we'll show up and they'll just
Several positions and roles within the organization, and including president in 2015 and 16. He's also a member of the board of the Arkansas Aerospace Education Center, and has been a member of that from 1994 to 1999. Bruce is a member of the International Dark Sky Association, and he leads the chapter, the Arkansas chapter, which is the Arkansas Natural Skies Association. He has also been a member of the Arkansas Association of Variable Star Observers, and serves on the association's validation team, and so they review the data for reliability and verification. He owns a small robotic observatory system located at Central Arkansas Astronomical Society's River Ridge Observatory, which he has logged over 65,000 variable star observations using CCD differential photometry, and leading to the discovery of several stars as variable and classifying and reclassifying a number of stars. So everyone, please give a warm welcome to Bruce McMath.
Thanks, Rick. And I can tell already, let me be the first to congratulate you all on what's going to be a great program. Well, y'all got this organized. It's obvious. And I mean, all the way down to the program on the back of it. I've not seen that before, so appreciated the opportunity to kind of you all hosting this. I've got one small complaint, however. When we hosted this event in Little Rock a couple of years ago, we didn't have near the turnout from Northwest Arkansas that you all are getting tonight or this weekend from Central Arkansas. So when we do it again, we expect to see a little more. So last year, I did a program with the same purpose that I have this time, which is to try to spark the development of some IDA local activity, chapters if you will, in the other states in our region. Arkansas is the only state in the mid-states region with a formal IDA chapter. And so I went to Springfield with that intent, and I gave a slightly modified version of my presentation that I give to the public about dark skies, hoping that that would get some traction, and there might be something new in it that people didn't know, and we would make some progress. And it was a resounding success, except for the fact we didn't get anywhere. It was a failure. Now, some of you may know who this character is supposed to be. My name is Bruce, and many of you may know of the story of my namesake here, Robert the Bruce, King of the Scots. If you do know the story, you'll recall that Bruce, who ultimately was successful in achieving Scottish independence, was not successful in the beginning. In fact, he met Edward Longshanks 6 times and failed each time. And finally, just barely able to stay in the country, hidden out in the hinterland in some shack, he became, and deciding his fate, he became enthralled by this spider. And he was watching this spider, and he watched the spider swing 6 times, trying to connect a web from one place to another, and each time it failed. But on the 7th, the story goes, it succeeded, and he was inspired to make one more attempt. And he rallied his troops and won Scottish independence. So I tell you that as a warning, because if we don't make some progress, I'm just going to keep coming back. I'll be back at least 7 times until we get a chapter in all the states in the Mid-States region. So my strategy this time, did I skip something? No, I did. So my strategy this time, instead of telling you what I tell the public, let's just get down to brass tacks and talk about chapters and what you can do with a chapter and how to set up a chapter and why to have a chapter. And then finally, we'll end with some things that hopefully you'll find encouraging that we've been able to do here with the Arkansas Natural Sky Association. So the first thing is why. Why should we be worried about light pollution? Well, this is what I talked about last time, and you all probably all know, but let's just review it for a minute. I like to say there's more to being able to see the stars than meets the eye. Pilots call this situational awareness. Knowing where the hell you are can be pretty important to how you frame your life. This is a philosophical as well as an intellectual point of importance to know where you are. And we are on a little dot going around one star in a vast universe, and I think it's important, particularly for kids, to have the experience of seeing the stars and see the universe that they live in. But there are other things. Human health and safety. The American Medical Association has issued 2 public health statements on the health implications of exposure to light at night. Wildlife habitat. It seems like weekly now. This is a hot item in the biological community. They are having a big time exploring the impact of light on plants and animals. It is an impact on greenhouse gases, climate change. 18% of the electricity we use in this country is for lighting. And wasted light is needless greenhouse gas, a 100-watt bulb. I like to tell the public, 100-watt bulb burning all night for a year generates almost a half a ton of carbon dioxide. One light. So, and then of course the other pollutants associated with generating wasted energy, and that's what light pollution is, wasted energy, it wastes money, and finally because lighting the night the final problem with it is it's a diversionary, it's a fake answer to some serious questions like crime. Yes.
The slide needs to move over.
Say again?
It's just off a little bit.
Move over to the live screen.
No, he said the slide needs to go on.
I don't have control over that.
Yeah.
And finally, because it's important, I think we're proving that out here in our state, that it's important to have a local voice. People increasingly are seeing news about light pollution and what it does, coming from on high, some science article or something like that. But until they hear it from a neighbor, from somebody that lives near them, that shares that concern, it just doesn't carry the same weight. And finally, just a graphic, many of you have seen this many times. This is a recent phenomenon. This doesn't have deep roots. If we don't do something about it, it's just going to keep getting worse, and you've seen this progression. So, why not? We don't have chapters in Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma. If we're going to solve that, it's probably worthwhile to ask why we don't. Why don't we? I'm going to ask you all. Anybody got some suggestions on why we don't? I mean, this issue's been around a while. Come on. Surely. All right. No volunteers. Well, is it because we don't care enough? Is it fatalism, that there's nothing you can do about it? Is it we don't know how to go about it? We don't know where to start. Maybe it's a combination of all those things. So we will try to address them as we go along. As for the fatalism, though, which I think is a big part, I think there's a lot of resignation in this area, particularly in the astronomy community. But there's just nothing you can do about it. It's not true. Where you have active chapters, they are making a difference. Phoenix, Arizona, big city, they're replacing all their street lights with fully shielded 2,700 Kelvin LEDs, all of them, because locals got involved. In this part of the country, right up here, actually before our chapter got started, there was activity, and many of the members of this group have been active in their communities in fighting light pollution. So we have ordinances, and Ken Martz is here. He's got an ordinance passed in Bella Vista, isn't it? Bentonville. There's ordinance in Fayetteville, but Fayetteville has a 100% shielded policy in the city. The little city east of there, what's it called? Goshen. And Clint over here is riding herd over the Fayetteville thing, trying to make sure it gets enforced, and so forth. You look at cities like Tucson, they've made huge progress, so it is not a futile endeavor. So, sure, you see if you can fix that.
Let me just say.
So while he's doing that, think about this. Think about the progress that's been made on water pollution, because citizens became active about it. Air pollution. America's a Beautiful program. You remember when I was a kid, people would just throw trash out their cars. Didn't think anything about it. So you can change through education and advocacy how people act and what governments respond to.
Bruce, talk about Gilbert while you're waiting for the slides to come up.
So, well, that's going to cause me to jump forward a little bit, but no, that's all right. So, as we'll see here in a minute.
The clicker's still working?
So, here's a bullet point, so we can address the issue of how do you go about doing this, how do you get started, and it's a protracted process, but you start with creating a Facebook page. You all got your Facebook page for your club. We'll talk about it in a minute, but you can create one of those for a dark sky chapter or affiliate, as we'll talk about here in a minute. And if you've got one or two guys that are interested and they post to this, and you invite people, you can build an audience, and that's an educational tool, and it brings membership to your group. Presentations and tabling at star parties. Your group up here is already given presentations. We give them in our astronomy clubs, star parties. Presentations to environmental groups, professional groups, and civic groups. So when I came up here and gave my little IDA presentation to you guys, and then I did in Springfield last year, I started taking that to engineering groups, lighting groups. They like it. They're interested in it. They understand the problem. They want to fix it. It's a big revelation to me that you would find that kind of support from these professionals. But they understand the problem and they want us to do something about it, and they become very supportive. Civic groups create a Mobilize IO site for internal communication. Letters to the editor. Join the city sustainability committee. Of course, we've got several people up in this part of the country already. They're involved in their city governments, as I've indicated. But I've figured out every city now has a sustainability committee. That committee is loaded with environmentally sensitive people. Their purpose is there to advise the city on how to be sustainable, how to be green. And they're already audience, and then they become allies, and they're already connected with your city government. So you can just infiltrate right into the system. You don't have to work on the outside. If you just volunteer for the Sustainability Committee. Dark Sky Park initiatives. Work with planetariums and museums to help you get your word out. And finally, recruit recreational businesses. Now, we're not quite there yet. We're working on it, but that's going to be one of our next steps. But I wanted to lay this out, and this is sort of in the order that my experience with our little chapter tells me is the way to build the blocks, where to start and where to go to as you progress. So the process, just a little bit about the nuts and bolts. You can start, and most chapters did start, by working out of an astronomy club. Start a committee. Tom, where's Tom Buchanan? Tom right here was out of Atlanta, right?
Right.
And you were the dark sky chair of their committee.
Right.
So that's the way to get started. But in my view, you need to progress beyond the astronomy club, because your credibility grows when you're not just seen as a bunch of astronomers worried about the stars. There are bigger issues here than that, and your chapter can reflect that broader spectrum. It can bring in these other environmental concerns in a credible way if you step outside and get a bigger community involved than your astronomy club. So the astronomy club is the seed that you want it to grow into an oak that's got lighting people and engineers and environmentalists and biologists participating in it. And that's the value of then going out and making these presentations to those groups. And I didn't mention environmentalists in that. That's another rich area. It's the Sierra Club, the Audubon. Audubon is already keyed on this because this is killing millions of birds every year, die related to running into buildings and flying in circles in light polluted cities. So they're hot on it. And so those are ready groups. And they're also people who are already habituated to advocacy and know how to advocate, which many of our aren't all that experienced or skilled in or inclined to do. So you can tap into those groups. Then you need to think about transitioning to a chapter, or it's gotten complicated. I hate to say this. I tried to discourage them from this, but they've done it anyway. So now we got two different kinds we got affiliates and chapters. An affiliate would be if you created an organization and then you sign up with them and jump through the hoops and sign their contracts, you can become an affiliate. Chapter in the future is going to be something they create for you, an LLC that they create for you. You still run it, but it's technically owned by IDA from a legalistic standpoint. And that's going to be the chapters. But it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. It really doesn't matter from the standpoint of being effective. If you wanted to create an association and be an affiliate, I can help you with that. If you want to become a chapter, you hook up with IDA and they will help you with that. So either way, the mechanics can be done. And then you develop a path forward, a plan on how to grow and how to reach outreach to the public. And so thinking about that plan and the nuts and bolts of such a plan, learning the hard way. When I first got active in this group, and it existed before I was involved, when I first got involved, there was this effort to push legislation in the Arkansas legislature. Well, that's all backwards. That's all backwards. You've got to build the group first. You have to establish a presence and credibility and pick your battles. And you want battles that you can win, because that helps build the morale of the group. It's building the structure and building credibility, and then working your way in to engaging with the deciders. So you want to first build the organization, establish internal communication so that you can have a community of people that are the leaders and the volunteers, the activists. It's very loose organization, but these people, it's important for us to be able to communicate, and they're up here working with their cities and their problems and people. We've got people down in South Arkansas working with the parks down there. We've got a guy in Hot Springs working with the city of Hot Springs and the National Park, trying to talk to them, and so forth around the state. And we're building this web, and you have to have a community. So you want to develop that community and the communication between the community. And then you do the presentations we've talked about, the presentations, the star parties, web page maybe comes later, the letters to the editor, and finally, once you've got credibility, you can start engaging the deciders. So what is ANSA? What ANSA is doing? This is our Facebook page, and I guess 2 years, maybe it's 3 years ago now. 3 years ago, when I got involved, we had about 24 people on our Facebook page, and now we've got, well, this is already dated. It's we're almost 900. It's down one, up two, down one, up two. So when you go to star parties, you tell people, join our Facebook page. When you have an idea, when you have a light pollution program as part of your star party, have them refer them to your Facebook page. Ask them to invite their friends. When you go to these engineering groups or environmental groups and give talks, you encourage them to join, and the thing grows. Well, this starts to grow your credibility. When you go to a decider, a group of deciders, the fact that you have a presence like this begins to develop your credibility, and they start to have to listen to you and take you seriously. This is the structure. This is our leadership now, and I'm just tickled to death about this. That is a blue ribbon group of people that's on our steering committee. Catherine Hall, y'all have already met. Catherine's here somewhere. She's a member of the Sugar Creek Club. April Ambrose is a longtime organizer in the environmental community. John Chamberlain has just finished a term on the Public Service Committee, the Pollution Control and Ecology Commission chairman, co-chair of the Pollution Control and Ecology of the state of Arkansas. And these others are engineers. And then we have this advisory committee that's got 3 lighting experts, an instrumental engineer, And then Scott volunteered. Robert, you've all met him. But that just adds to our credibility.
Scott Roberts, that's the guy.
And then I mentioned internal communication. We've set up this Mobilize IO site. We went through three different pieces of software trying to find out online apps, trying to figure out the best way to finally to get internal communication set up. And this is the cat's meow, Mobilize IO. And if you take off down this road, and when you get to this, I'll be happy to walk you through it. It's fairly intuitive. It's not real complicated, but it's a great way to knit a community of people together, and people can control how they get their email from it. So it's, you run into these problems if you've got a listserv. First of all, a listserv is sort of a black box. If you just join it, you don't know who else is on it. It's just email addresses. Well, with this, you have a biographical sketch for each person that registers, and a picture, and you begin to, and they say what their interests are, what their backgrounds are.
Yes.
So you start to build a community. Plus, as I say, because you can filter, every participant can filter how they participate, what parts of this they participate in, and how they get their email. You don't have this concern about your box being overloaded, which is not going to be anyway. It's not a huge amount of traffic, but it's a powerful tool for organizing a diverse group of people scattered out over a large distance. And then this is some of the outreach that we've had in the last year, and I want to elaborate on some of this. All this has taken place in the last year. This is our application for to have the Buffalo Buffalo National River designated Arkansas's first dark sky park. And we've been working on this for about a year and a half now. The Buffalo River is 150 miles long. It's a big park. And to be designated, they had to inventory all their lights. They have to develop a lightscape management plan. And then they have to start coming into compliance with that plan. And so forth and so on. They have to have an outreach program. And so this is sort of an involved process, particularly for so large a park. Sugar Creek has been instrumental in this, and the Central Arkansas Astronomical Society have been really partnering. And when we first got this started, I thought that the two clubs, and maybe we could find a third one to participate down the road, would be the whole program. It just never dawned on me that the parks would become part of the program. Well, they're holding programs every Friday and Saturday night with their interpreters. 1.5 million people go through that park a year. 1.5 million people. And this is the crown jewel of Arkansas's natural heritage, the Buffalo River. It's iconic. And so when the Buffalo River National Park becomes a dark sky park and starts talking to people about the importance of dark skies, and they change all their lighting, and they talk about why they changed their lighting, and they hang brochures in the bathrooms about etiquette and why they've made the changes they have, why the light in that bathroom is a funny color. This is a powerful tool. So Sugar Creek has held 2 of our star parties there. Our first one got clouded out, but we're like you guys now. We're not going to cloud out anymore. No more cloud outs. We have programs. And in fact, the last one the Sugar Creek did was clouded out. And Catherine came down and gave it a great program. Letter to the editor. Let There Be Dark. This is the Democrat Gazette guest editorial on this whole problem. University of Arkansas Medical Science has a daily program called Here's to Your Health. It's a little short radio segment on public radio. And so we got them, we called this issue to their attention. They ran 5 segments. They ran a whole week's worth of programming on the health impacts of light pollution. This is KUAF up here in northwest Arkansas. So now we're trying to leverage this park, which is one of the points of the park is to leverage. So Kent mentioned, tell them about Gilbert. Well, a lot of cities in Arkansas would like to modernize their lights, but the tariffs are too high on the modern lights. And I don't want to get into the complexity of that, but why that is. But it could be fixed. It's a fixable thing. I think it is because they like selling electricity at night, and they don't want the more efficient fixtures. But at any rate, so we finally prevailed upon Little Rock to go meet with the Public Service Commission and ask them to address this problem. That's the state's biggest city. So then, with this park on our side, we got the Park Service to go to the city of Gilbert, which is the smallest city in the state of Arkansas, and the only city on the Buffalo River. It has a population now, I think, of 27 and 16 streetlights. So we went to talk to them about getting involved and becoming more responsible, helping the park preserve its dark skies. And they said, great. And so what do you want us to do? And I said, well, I want you to call Entergy, because they are an Entergy customer too, and ask them about their options. I knew there wouldn't be any they could afford. They did that, and I told the mayor that. And I said, then when it comes back and you can't afford it, I want you to write a letter to the Public Service Commission and complain about these tariffs and ask them to do something about it. So now we've got the smallest city and the biggest city on record with the Public Service Commission that we need to solve this tariff problem. Unfortunately, the executive director that we talked to with the city retired. Well, he didn't retire, he quit. And guess where he is now? Entergy. He's the public relations face for Entergy. So, at any rate, I'm thinking we may have to litigate this. But, so they got word of this. Well, no, so the next step in this, another angle on this whole thing, is that we said we had some people up in Center Park, North Central Arkansas, who started calling, and this is what happens when you set up a chapter and you become the executive or the chair, is you start getting calls like this. Well, some bitch next door to me's got this light. What can we do about it? So, so I said, well, what we can do is complain. At any rate, so we got a little group together that who are customers of the Carroll Electric, a large co-op that serves part of the Buffalo River. So, so we had this idea that we would try to get Carroll Electric to adopt a responsible lighting program of some sort or another. And that leaked out to the radio station, and they contacted us. So then we got this coverage from them about what we were trying to do with Carroll Electric and the Buffalo River and so forth and so on. And then, I don't think I have it on here. I don't have it on here. The Democrat Gazette reporter up here heard that radio broadcast and contacted us to learn more about it. Well, then he just ran front page below the fold, Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Sunday, was it the Sunday edition?
Yes.
Yeah, Sunday edition, about Arkansas Natural Sky Association efforts and the Buffalo River and so forth and so on. So we're getting a lot of information out there. And yesterday, well, let me back up. 2 weeks ago, the city of Little Rock sent out an email to their residents telling them to leave their lights. It's summertime and everybody's out of school. Leave your lights on all night to prevent crime. So you can imagine that got under my skin. So yesterday, the Arkansas Times ran my piece, turned the lights out, or what is it, lights out, or something like that, yesterday. So we're getting a lot of stuff out. But a lot of it starts right here with this park. So a dark sky park is a potentially hugely powerful piece of armament in those dark sky organizations' quiver. And all the national parks, we just call them up. We've gone to the state, to the National Forest Service, and we got a cold shoulder. And somebody said, well, we call it Buffalo River. And we called them up, and they were ready. The National Park Service is into this. So if you've got a national park anywhere, that is great too. And the final thing I wanted to point out here is this publication. Rocky Togney is here, right back there. Yeah, this Rocky is a cast member, long-standing. He comes to almost every club meeting and every star party, and he has to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours to get there. And he's been doing this for years. But he's a master observer in the astronomical area. You know what that means, right? I mean, he's got more pens. And over the years, he has developed this easy way to learn the constellations. And so I approached him about publishing that as a way to raise money, twofold. Raise money for the chapter, but also as a educational piece, because the idea is we have these star parties. If you had a publication like this that people whose interest was sparked could walk away with at a reasonable price, it would encourage them to keep going. And anybody, as you know, anybody who gets under the stars and gets enthralled with this defends the sky. So this is a double deal, and we have those. We just got them in yesterday, by the way. They're $10. The Arkansas State Parks, I understand, have agreed we can sell these at star parties. I don't have the paperwork, but I've been told that that's been passed, and so and we are happy to work with Sugar Creek or any other club to split the profits with you. We'll split the profits with Cass at home and sell these at star parties as a fundraiser and an educational piece. So these are some of the things that we've been doing. And then we've got a webmaster who was not really, I think he would be the first to tell you, not the most accomplished web expert in the world, but he had an interest and he went after it, and he's developed this beautiful website. I invite you to visit it and peruse it. Arkansas, it's darkskyarkansas.com or darkskyarkansas.com. But one of the most recent things we've done is to start this Dark Sky Places concept. And guys, we need more input to this. You know places, you know your favorite fishing hole type thing, where you like to go, where it's really dark, to observe the sky. Let us know. We want to add it to the map. But what we've got on here right now, you see, and these are observing sites that we have managed to get in here so far, star party sites, and y'all can see this is where we are, right up here. The star parties are the binoculars, so that's Hobbs is up here. This is Lake Fort Smith, where the Arkansas Oklahoma Club has theirs. This is our club's place, and then this is Pinnacle, which is State Park where we have events, and that's Woolly Hollow. And then the Memphis Club has them over here at Village Creek State Park. But at any rate, and then we also have places to stay. We don't have many of those yet, where you can stay, and a lot of them where we do have them, you see the beds here. Oh, and there's museums will go on here, planetariums will go on here. So it's dark sky places. But the real point and purpose of this, after we fill out the observing places, is to go after the accommodations, to go after these cabin operators and other recreational entities that are doing business up here in this relatively protected, relatively unspoiled part of the state, or anywhere in the state for that matter, where it's reasonably dark. Get them to list their places on our, but to be there, they're going to have to meet certain minimum qualifications. So we start, hopefully, get these businesses will want to be on there, and this becomes a place where you and I can go. We want to go spend a weekend at the Buffalo, and we can find a place, a cabin to stay, where we know there's not going to be a night watcher outside. Like I experienced not too long ago, that's what inspired this. I rented a cabin in Buffalo, and I was sitting on the back porch, and the sun had gone down, the bats were just starting to fly, and this light comes on, no switch. So you can't be on this list. But that sort of then hopefully develops a business community support and gets into this whole recreational and tourist idea around the dark sky parks. So, to summarize, you can start making a difference by Facebook page, presentations at state parks and star parties, presentations with environmental groups, professional groups, letters to the editor, sustainability committees, dark sky park initiatives. Again, this is more or less in the order I think you would normally go. Planetariums, partnerships with planetariums and museums to hand out your materials. And finally, engage with the deciders once you've gotten some credibility and some presence selectively. And that is my presentation in a nutshell. I do have an ask.
Bruce?
Of course. Ordinarily, I would say my ask would be to review your own lighting situation and join IDA at a minimum. If you're in one of these other states, I obviously want you to talk to me, and let's see what we can do to get a chapter started. Buy Rocky's book and donate to the IDA. And if you want to donate to the IDA, they prevailed upon me. This is, I guess, one of the burdens of being a chapter chair, is that then they call you up and they say, we want you to establish one of these fundraising sites for us. And so now I've got to dun all my buddies and friends to support the cause. It's matched 100%, and I've got a modest goal. So if you want to encourage me, if you think we're doing good things here and you want to encourage me, let me know you're behind me and that you approve what I'm doing by sending me an email, and I'll send you a link to make a modest contribution, $1,000 or two, you know. And no, my goal is only $1,000, and they will match it. They've already got the matching money lined up, so that you know how that works. So that's it. Kent.
Explain the name.
Okay. Well, this is just a little marketing, and dark is one of the things that you battle with. I mean, this whole thing, dark, our genes tell us dark is bad. I mean, we've evolved with fire as home and hearth and safety. If you got lost out in the woods, had a plane wreck or something, and you got a flat tire in the wilderness, in the sunset, the first damn thing you'd want is a fire. You know it? You want light. You're scared of the dark. People are scared of the dark. So why put your foot forward with dark? It just doesn't seem to be a very good way to get going. When what we're really talking about is what we've got down here. We're talking about the night. The night is natural, beautiful, healthy, and it's free. You don't have to pay for it. Natural, healthy, beautiful, and free. So the Arkansas Natural Sky Association just seems like will help you get your foot in the door. And the Memphis Club changed their name to the Memphis chapter accordingly. And so that's just the reason we did that.
We went back and forth on the name for a while too.
Yeah, right. Yes, sir.
I've been to the most dark, controlled place in the United States, Big Island of Hawaii. And I found, looking at it, listening to it, I was on your advisory committee for a while. The less there's legislation involved, it ain't gonna happen.
Well, ultimately, you're right. Ultimately, you have to get the legislation. But you have to.
Why the Big Island, the street lights are little LED shut down.
Right. But you have to start, you have to build your organization first. And then when you get to where you start engaging the deciders, you need to engage the people that you're going to be able to persuade, unless it's a dire situation. I mean, but you want to work your way up and build your credibility. And starting with the legislature is, you're just not going to, we've been there 3 times and turned down every time. You can't get it out of committee. And by the way, the guy leading the charge was a well-respected Republican in a Republican-dominated legislature, and he still couldn't get it out of committee because the city of Little Rock would come in and others and block it because of these tariffs. They are scared of having to buy those expensive lights, and I don't want to get into why that is because it gets technical. But there's no reason for those lights to be that expensive, or to be that much more expensive than the heirloom lights. And we ultimately will get that fixed. I'm confident. Yes, sir. Don.
Bruce,
how did you become knowledgeable, I guess, about the details? Obviously, if you're with a chapter or maybe leading a chapter else, there's a presumption that you have an expertise in the area of lighting